It is dramatic video of a police takedown. A cruiser ends up rolling over both the suspect and one of the arresting officers. Good evening. Toronto police say neither the suspect nor the officer suffered serious injuries.
It all began when people in a plaza near Jane and Eglinton saw a woman damaging vehicles in the parking lot. A warning, the video in its entirety may be disturbing to some viewers. CTV's Janice Golding is at the scene tonight. Janice, what do we know about how this all went down?
Hi, Nathan. Well, cell phone video appears to show a woman being run over by a police cruiser not once, but twice during an arrest. Here's more from people who were in the area and witnessed what happened here at the Jane Park Plaza over the weekend.
An officer fires a taser and a suspect falls, dropping a metal object, and then a police SUV vacated by an assisting officer rolls, and when the officer returns behind the wheel, the video shows the cruiser surging forward instead of stopping, hitting both the suspect and one of the arresting officers. Mossad Bedran works next door and saw everything unfold.
First thing I heard a lot of people screaming, Then I'm coming from a restaurant and I see a lot of cops. It is follow the girl, have two knives.
Badran says an armed woman was walking around the parking lot damaging a Jeep along with a police vehicle.
He's just damaged the cars. I don't know why.
Melissa says police were actively looking for the suspect around 4 Saturday afternoon.
Two police officers came in basically asking me and my coworker if we seen a lady that was vandalizing cars.
And then about 15 minutes later,
go look outside the parking lot and then I see the cruiser, the cop cruiser kind of rolling away. And I see a bunch of cops trying to run and kind of stop it. So I'm thinking the lady got in and took it. But she was really under the cruiser.
Police say paramedics assessed both the suspect and the officer, and both were medically cleared, although the woman was taken to hospital for further assessment. Police adding, we are actively reviewing the circumstances and are grateful there were no serious injuries during this dynamic incident.
Ooh, wow!
No one seriously injured, but still not something these people who work at the Jane Park Plaza will soon forget.
We are busy, so that's time, so I don't know what happening, but I just saw the video. Oh my God, it's so damaged.
That was very, very shocking for me. A cop is in front of the car and then cop get down and holding the accused or whoever it is. And then car is coming on all of them. That was...
The SIU tells us that they were not notified about this incident, likely because the suspect's injuries were not considered serious enough to alert Ontario's police watchdog. Reporting live from Janice Golding. Now back to Nathan.
Thank you, Janice. Still ahead, while one city celebrates, another looks ahead to the future. We'll tell you how Jays fans are feeling about next season as they cope with the crushing end to this season. But first, the TTC and Metrolinx are facing criticism for their service levels Saturday night after the Jays' Game 7 loss.
Accused of leaving fans stranded following the game, the TTC CEO addressing the concerns today at a board meeting. CTV's Rahim Ladani was at that meeting, and he joins us live with more. Rahim.
Hi, Michelle and Nathan. Yes, the TTC and Metrolinx are both facing some harsh criticism after what unfolded over the weekend. Whether you were downtown going to watch Game 7 of the World Series or heading down to a bar for a Halloween party, everyone was encouraged to take public transit to help avoid congestion in the downtown core. Well, many people heeded that advice, but that decision, for a lot of people, turned into a traffic nightmare.
Right now, this guy is trying to open the train doors.
Chaos inside Union Station as heartbroken Blue Jays fans turned angry, trying to get home after Game 7 of the World Series. While those who did manage to get on transit were squished shoulder to shoulder. As thousands of fans flocked towards trains and subways, many were shocked to see this tweet by the City of Toronto, telling people while the game was heading into extra innings, transit won't wait, and the last TTC train is around 1:30 a.m. The problem is that wasn't exactly true.
Should we have communicated that we are running service and we have the ability to extend? Yes, we should have. So that would have helped, and that is something we've corrected.
Mandy Blally, the TTC CEO, says there was a contingency plan to extend subway service and deploy more buses, but it was never activated. Lally stands by that decision, but says the TTC will improve communication with transit riders. Now TTC Chair Jamal Myers has brought forward a motion to establish predictable late-night transit service for major special events.
The motion will ensure a united communications approach, giving customers one clear, reliable transit message for big nights across our city.
Councillor Josh Matlow supports the motion but disagrees with the TTC's decision not to extend service. Matlow is also calling out Metrolinx, which operates GO Trains and the Up Express, saying the service continues to fail the public.
They don't have the trust of Toronto City councillors and beyond because they're not transparent. They're very secret. Metrolinx needs to be just fixed and changed from inside out. They need more people actually fixing problems than the hundreds of vice presidents that they have.
Metrolinx says it added additional trains on several lines for Game 7 and held trains as long as operationally possible. The last GO train left Union around 12:30 a.m. and Up Express at 1 o'clock.
We definitely added significant services, and also we don't own those tracks, a lot of those tracks. So our service are constrained by ownership, not having full ownership of our tracks.
In a statement, Metrolinx says, "Let me be clear, we are in constant communication with the TTC at all times, but especially when major events are held in the city. To suggest there is a disconnect in our communication or partnership with the TTC is deeply misleading. Speculation and finger-pointing are not the way to build public confidence on our regional transit system." However, we asked if the TTC and Metrolinx have met to dissect how the transit agencies can be better.
I ain't had any meetings since the weekends with Metrolinx.
There's nothing scheduled?
Not at this moment in time.
Leaving transit riders wondering if service will improve in time for the city's next big event.
Now, Jamal Meyer's motion has been adopted. What that means is we should see a proposal on transit late-night service for special events being brought forward in the first quarter of 2026. Reporting live, I'm Raheem Ladani. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Raheem. And Metrolinx is also facing some heat tonight for its decision to undertake critical track work during the work week.
That work was pushed back during the Jays' playoff run and meant to change of plans for thousands of commuters this morning. CTV's John Musselman is live tonight at the Mimico GO station with details. John.
Well, Nathan, most of this issue dealt with people out in Oakville at the Oakville GO station. They had to use buses to connect to other areas to get on other GO train lines to get downtown. But we can let you know that people here in Mimico can get a GO train and head to downtown. And that's important tonight. The Maple Leafs are playing. Commuters arriving at the Oakville GO station this morning were welcomed by this sign: "No service to Union Station." Metrolinx says weekend closures that were pushed back to accommodate the Jays' playoff and World Series run delayed some track work repair. That work began on Sunday night and all day Monday. GO train riders expecting a train this morning were instead boarding GO buses.
I was surprised because I didn't check the schedule in advance, but I probably should have done that. But I'm on my way to Toronto. I go to UFT, so I was hoping to get there a little bit earlier, but I guess this is going to delay it by about an hour or so.
I was kind of disappointed. I'm not from here, so I'm trying to get back and forth from Union over to where I go to school and stuff. It's kind of a struggle.
Here's a look at the service changes. There is no GO transit services at Port Credit, Long Branch, or west from Mimico GO. GO buses will run between Oakville and Clarkson GO to Arundel and Bramalea GO. Customers can connect to eastbound train service on the Milton and Kitchener lines to Union Station. In a statement, Metrolinx wrote, "We appreciate that this will inconvenience our customers, and we sincerely thank them for their patience and understanding." Metrolinx says this work is critical to maintaining safe and reliable service. On Tuesday morning, Metrolinx will be adding 2 early morning inbound trains starting at Appleby and Aldershot GO stations. Regular service should resume just before 6 a.m. And that's just in time for the morning rush hour into the city. Again, GO train users are asked to just check the schedule, make sure everything is working as it's supposed to work. Reporting live, I'm John Musselman. I'll send it back to you.
Thanks, John. To your forecast now as we head into the first full week of November. This is a live shot. And what does it remind us? Oh, yes, we turn the clocks back over the weekend. It is nice and dark out there now during the 6 o'clock hour. Lindsay Morrison is here with the current conditions and a bit cool today.
It was, Michelle, and it's now dark in the 5 o'clock hour, too. And I have to say, it didn't look too bad in that live shot, but we've got some pretty active weather happening this hour in parts of the GTA. I'm going to zoom in a little closer to show you specifically around Scarborough. Scarborough, East York, North York, and into parts of Durham region and sections of York region as well. We've had thunderstorms, so thunder and lightning being reported. Also large hail in some cases. In fact, the hail was quite large, extending back towards Shelburne and the Dundalk Highlands area. So a little rare for this time of year in November. We've had gusty winds. In fact, we have special weather statements still in place. Right now, the sustained winds in Toronto are around 20 kilometers per hour, but we've experienced gusts today upwards of 50K. 9 degrees right now, and overnight we dropped to a low of about 5. We'll take you through the forecast for the week ahead coming up. For now, Nathan, over to you.
It was great weather for a parade in L.A., and that's exactly what the Dodgers did today after beating the Blue Jays in Game 7 to take their second straight World Series title. The team was celebrated by thousands of fans. Meanwhile, here in Toronto, fans are already looking ahead to next year. CTV's Sean Leathong has more.
Early November outside the Rogers Centre, there are signs that through some tears, this city isn't ready to let go of the 2025 Blue Jays. Despite the loss, inside the Jays shop, World Series merchandise is selling at a rapid pace, supporting a team that went all the way just short one run.
I guess it's part of a grieving process a little bit, and but you know, I just felt like I need to kind of be here.
Just to be able to have like an item or an article to be able to celebrate that, I think was really important for us and my family as well.
Super proud of the team, and yeah, just wanted to get some stuff to toast the occasion.
Will Tolbert is even buying a jersey hoping for next year.
I'm thinking about maybe getting Ernie Clement.
In the moments after their Game 7 loss, Clement described the heartbreak and what this city loves about this team.
I've been crying for like probably an hour, so I thought I was done with the tears, but I just love these guys so much. It was so much fun coming to work every day and, you know, battling with these guys, and we have so much to be proud of.
While Clement will be back next year, the team could look very different. There are 6 free agents, with the most prominent being Bo Bichette.
I've said I want to be here from the beginning.
But the man who hit a 3-run home run in Game 7 will command a lot on the open market that could be more than the Blue Jays are willing to pay. There are also pitchers Chris Bassett and Max Scherzer, whose contracts are up.
It's been my favorite group I ever played with. Couldn't say enough good things about everyone.
The heart that this team had, the way we cared for each other, this is gut-wrenching.
Both have expressed interest in returning, but GM Ross Atkins will have some decisions to make, like with starter Shane Bieber, who can opt out of his final year of his contract and hit the open market. Also, Sir Anthony Dominguez, Ty France, and Isaiah Kenner-Falafa will be free agents. Fans back at the Jays shop are more optimistic.
They should re-sign Bo, go out and get some bullpen strength, go out and get maybe another starting pitcher, re-sign Bieber. I think we've only seen the beginning of this team.
Major League Baseball's free agency doesn't start until Thursday, and there's still no word on an end-of-season news conference from Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins. So at least in theory, this team the city loves so much will stay together for a few days. Sean Leathong, CTV News.
And later on CTV News, we'll look at how some school kids are turning their grief into gratitude, putting pen to paper for some of their favorite ball players. An investigation is underway following a fire in the city's West End. Emergency crews called to the Bloor and Indian Road area just east of Parkside Drive. The call came in shortly before 6:30 this morning for reports of smoke coming from the roof of a building. They eventually found flames on a 3rd floor. No injuries have been reported, and so far there's been no word on a possible cause. Meantime, one person was taken to hospital with minor injuries following a fire at a high-rise near Wellesley and Rose Avenue. Flames broke out shortly before 7:45 this morning in a 3rd-floor unit. Toronto Fire says the flames spread to a 2nd unit. The cause of the blaze is still under investigation. November is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and the York Region Centre for Community Safety has launched a new initiative to highlight what it says is chronic underfunding of supports for victims of intimate partner violence.
CTV's Beth McDonnell has more on the Invest in Hope campaign.
When Aurora met her husband, she says he was gentle and kind.
After we got married, he started showing his the temper issue, and he used a lot of different excuses, like any kind you can imagine. And I was giving the excuse, I was forgive him again and again. And when I have my pregnant with my kids, things getting worse.
Aurora says she endured a decade of emotional abuse. She says he was manipulative, would isolate her from friends and family, and would hurt her by hurting their children. Until a turning point, when at a courthouse, a social worker referred her to YRCCS, York Region Centre for Community Safety.
Well, I want to survive. I just want a safe life without scare for my kids and myself.
The nonprofit has created a series of videos as part of a new Invest in Hope campaign to highlight the need in the intimate partner violence sector. Since 2013, YRCCS has been an integrated hub for services, helping women like Aurora access counseling, housing, employment, and legal services. The center says while the number of survivors and children being served has doubled pre- and post-pandemic from more than 1,000 to more than 2,000, project-based government funding is dropping from 35% this year to 6% next year. It's calling on the province to make a sustainable funding commitment so the work continues.
Let's invest in this and make sure that these regions are served, that those survivors don't fall through the cracks.
Women will stay in those abusive relationships, unfortunately. And so what the impacts to our community, what that means to our community is fairly serious.
The Office for the Minister of Children, Community and Social Services tells CTV News in a statement, YRCCS is one of 15 organizations, each receiving about $118,000 between 2025 and the end of 2027. Aurora credits YRCCS and its hub approach for helping regain her confidence.
Here, I can open my mind, open my heart. They teach me step by step.
And build a new life for her and her kids. Beth McDonnell, CTV News.
The Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police has kicked off Crime Prevention Week in the province.
We work very closely with youth because we know that to prevent a young person from entering a life of crime is incredibly complex and cannot be solved by one agency.
If you see it, report it. Meaning if you witness a crime or know of a crime that has been committed and have any information that can assist the police in holding those persons accountable, call us or report it to Crime Stoppers.
The focus of the campaign is collaboration between police, community organizations, and residents. According to Toronto Police data, several types of crimes are down across the city this year, including homicides, sexual assaults, break-and-enters, and car thefts. The Premier remains unapologetic about Ontario's anti-tariff ad that led to a breakdown in Canada-U.S. trade talks.
Doug Ford says the ad spurred debate in the U.S. Senate. Others aren't so sure. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris reports.
Trade barriers hurt every American worker.
A week after it was pulled from U.S. TV networks, there's bigger bluster from the Premier defending his anti-tariff ad featuring the voice of former President Ronald Reagan.
There's never been an ad in the history of this world that has seen 12.4 billion views.
On Friday, the Prime Minister revealed he hadn't wanted the ad to run at all.
Did you inform Mr. Ford that this is something that you did not want to go forward with?
Yes. Doug Ford doesn't want to fall into what he calls a bear trap of explaining who said what.
I had a different recollection of our conversation.
Sharing that Mark Carney did keep up the pressure.
He called me from Asia a couple times and said, pull the ad.
Not relenting until after trade talks with the U.S. abruptly stopped.
No deal is better than a bad deal. And that's what President Trump wants.
While Ford is unrepentant.
I did apologize to the president. President was offended by the act, or by the ad, rather.
Ford calls the "I'm sorry" the Prime Minister's prerogative, but it's not something you'd catch him doing.
I'll never apologize to Donald Trump, ever. They put me on a stretching rack, I wouldn't apologize.
The yeas are 50, the nays are 46.
Ford credits the ad with reviving debate on tariffs in the U.S. Senate.
Donald Trump has stopped the discussions because a TV ad hurt his feelings.
4 Republicans jumped over and voted against tariffs on Canada.
But those are Republicans who'd already spoken out against tariffs before the ad was on television.
It didn't sway any votes in the Senate, right? It wasn't the greatest ad in human history. It was an unforced error.
I wish the Premier would spend as much time developing a jobs plan for Ontario as he is looking at the number of views on his ad.
Worried about communities like Ingersoll, where GM is ending production of an electric delivery van because of low demand.
I want to tell you what one of the members said to me. He said, this ego clash is killing us.
Despite all the back and forth over the ad, the Premier insists his relationship with the Prime Minister is still strong, and he believes Mark Carney is doing his best to reach a trade deal for Canada. At Queen's Park, Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Ontario's Labour Minister is facing a new complaint, alleging he played favourites in giving out grants from a $2.5 billion skills development fund.
As CTV's John Woodward reports, this comes as a new poll shows support for the minister to step down.
And I'm just going to use this board as a little reference here, okay?
Little is an understatement. This board of text, pictures, and twine is the Ontario Liberal Party's attempt to map out the growing Skills Development Fund scandal.
Taken together, these facts paint a disturbing picture. A minister using public power to advance private connections.
The Liberals filing a complaint with the legislature's Integrity Commissioner, pointing to this web that connects the minister who oversees that $2.5 billion fund with party donors who received the money. Personal friends seen here in rinkside maple leaf seats with Pacini tied to a company that later got millions. And Corey Tenike, Doug Ford's campaign manager, now lobbyist for companies that together got at least $82 million.
This minister should be fired, and we are all calling on the Premier to fire him today.
A majority of Ontarians agree with her, according to a poll commissioned by Labour Union CUPE. 51% said Pacini should resign or be removed, 28% said he should continue in his role, and 22% said they weren't sure. 46% said they believed this controversy is a broader problem with the Ford government and how it awards contracts and grants. 23% said they thought it was just about the minister, and 9% said they didn't believe anything is mismanaged.
Using public money inappropriately that recycles back into massive donations to their party. This is serious.
Pacini said in question period, every dollar went to where it should have.
We implemented financial audits, and we're implementing the Auditor General's recommendation by posting publicly key programmatic indicators in the next round in the coming months, Speaker.
Last month, Ontario's Auditor General found hundreds of millions had gone to lower-ranked projects. Some of that was federal money. The feds tell us they've concluded their agreement with the province was not breached because while many lower-ranked projects did receive money, none of them were technically ineligible.
Every day we wake up and there's something else you can put on the board.
The Liberals say if this keeps up, they're going to need more twine. John Woodward, CTV News.
The federal government is initiating dispute settlement proceedings against Stellantis.
The decision follows the company's announcement last month that it is shifting production of the Jeep Compass from Brampton to the U.S. CTV senior political correspondent Mike Lecouteur reports.
Industry Minister Melanie Joly says today's action is based on the belief that automaker Stellantis did violate the billion-dollar contract signed with the federal government.
If you make promises and then walk away, you will be held accountable.
A blunt message for Stellantis from the federal government. Before being questioned by a parliamentary committee, the industry minister said Ottawa is going after the car maker.
We'll start the 30-day period of the formal dispute resolution process in order to bring back production at the Stellantis Brampton facility.
In October, Stellantis announced it was moving production of its Jeep Compass from its Brampton, Ontario plant to Illinois. In response, the government capped how many vehicles Stellantis and GM can import tariff-free into Canada. Going to the dispute resolution process could be risky, according to this trade lawyer, because the automaker could play hardball.
I think what they would say is, look, Canada, if you really want to do this, take this approach, then, we might give you your money back and say goodbye to you.
And your government committed thousands, millions, and billions.
In a sometimes combative exchange, Conservative members of the parliamentary committee demanded to know if the contract with Stellantis spelled out job commitments in Brampton. Documents related to the building of the battery plant in Windsor, obtained by CTV News, clearly state Nexstar Energy and Stellantis committed to creating and maintaining 2,500 jobs at that plant. The contract for the Brampton plant has not been released.
She could have been very clear if her government made a 3,000 job commitment for Brampton or a broader Canadian footprint agreement. She was not clear on that. That tells me there isn't one.
Minister Joly told the committee the car plants in Windsor and Brampton are linked, as are the contracts. adding MPs will be able to see that when the Brampton contract is presented at another committee. Michael Commuter, CTV News, Ottawa.
The Prime Minister has warned Canadians tough choices and sacrifices will be needed because of American tariffs.
So expect deep cuts in tomorrow's budget announcement. CTV's Abigail Beeman has more on what that actually means.
In the pre-budget day new shoe buying tradition, the finance minister got hands-on at a factory, underlining build Canadian, buy Canadian.
The budget tomorrow is all about, it's an investment budget. It's a generational shift.
The government now only stressing investment.
C'est un budget d'austérité et d'investissement.
While in early September, Justin French, Mark Carney also said austerity. Late October, a reference to sacrifices.
We won't transform our economy easily or in a few months. It will take some sacrifices.
Pounced on by opposition.
All our young Conservatives are fighting for homes, jobs, and hope, and they refuse to sacrifice their future.
We will not support an austerity approach.
There will be big spending in that budget, which goes against, I think, the logic of austerity. So there is a kind of tension here.
Desjardins economists predict the deficit will hit $75 billion.
I don't think you can characterize a $75 billion deficit as an austerity budget or austerity deficit.
There are obviously unanswered questions about just what is getting cut. Public service jobs most discussed. And the government has also promised to maintain some big-ticket programs and spend more on defense.
Austerity will mean different things to different people. And those who are most impacted will see the austerity. You can see public servants who are going to be impacted will view this as an austerity budget. The unions will view this as an austerity budget.
The Liberals are just 3 seats shy of a majority, meaning they need some help from the opposition parties in order to pass this budget in the confidence vote ahead or risk heading to an election. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Prince Harry will be in Toronto this week to attend several engagements as Remembrance Day approaches. He will be here on Wednesday and Thursday at the invitation of the military charity True Patriot Love Foundation. The Duke is scheduled to attend a series of events to support the Canadian Armed Forces and veteran community. They include a private lunch where international veterans' issues will be discussed, a visit to the Veterans Center at Sunnybrook Hospital, and a tribute dinner for military families and veterans.
Coming up, Dear Blue Jays, a local school's effort to turn utter heartbreak into healing, urging kids to pick up a pen and put their feelings about the team on paper.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, when you're scrolling on social media, you may see ads for products that seem too good to be true. But if you buy them, you could end up with a cheap knockoff or receive nothing at all. I'll have that story. That's just ahead.
Well, our sunrise and sunset times have changed thanks to the clocks going back this weekend. Today's sunrise was just before 7 a.m. The sun set at 5:05. I also want to update you on the fact that our seasonal norm is now about 9 degrees. So it's normal for us to experience highs in the single digits. Tomorrow, though, we're going to be above seasonal. It's looking like a great day. We'll take you through the forecast coming up. And stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you right here on CTV.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
If you're scrolling on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, chances are you'll see ads for products, many at a massive discount.
Well, some of these items for sale may be legitimate. Others could be cheap knockoffs that are of poor quality. Here's Pat Foran with a Consumer Alert. Pat.
Thanks, Michelle and Nathan. We do get complaints about products that people purchase on social media. They don't always arrive as advertised. They may also have questionable return policies, and some products don't show up at all.
I'm upset. I'm angry. I don't want this to happen to anybody else.
Jackie Belfour of Niagara Falls was on Facebook when an ad popped up for a clothing store that claimed it was going out of business.
I found a 3-piece outfit and a pair of shoes that I liked.
She paid $135, but when the merchandise arrived, Belfour says it was cheaply made, and the shoes she thought were leather were plastic.
These are a $65 pair of shoes that are absolute plastic junk.
The website appeared to be based in Canada, but she was told she would have to return the items to China at a cost of almost $100, and there was no guarantee she would get a refund.
I felt ripped off. I felt that everything about this website had been misleading and really fraudulent.
Is Facebook certified advertisement? Don't believe it. It's your biggest scam.
Jinri Fu of Aurora needed a taillight for his truck. He found a company on Facebook and sent them $250. Then he was told he would have to pay more for insurance, and the part never showed up.
I feel like not comfortable because I trust the Facebook.
They're getting very hard to distinguish between what's real and what's fake.
Social media expert Janita Panu says while consumers may believe ads have been vetted by the platforms they appear on, she says that's not the case.
Scammers are building these Facebook pages, running ads for a short period of time, and then they would collect payments and maybe never deliver on the product.
To avoid ad scams, confirm you're on a legitimate website, use caution buying through social media shops, contact the company in advance of the purchase, and be suspicious of massive discounts and deals that seem too good to be true. If a price is so low that it doesn't make sense, chances are it's a fake ad. And many of these ads are being created with AI, so they look very real. And while it's a good idea to check reviews online, there's a chance the reviews could be fake as well. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
Well, Halloween's behind us, the boys of summer behind us. We've got the time change. Things are different.
Yes, definitely a different vibe. But I feel like it was nice to see the sun come out this afternoon, and tomorrow's looking like a sunny day. And there's always next year.
Let's hope that carries us through. But you're right, lots of sunshine for tomorrow. I must say, though, it's pretty active this evening in some parts of the GTA, mainly for the East End. And I do want to show you some video here. This is what it looked like not very long ago, just outside of our CTV studio. You may be able to look and see and hear what's going on here. Yeah, this is some hail that was falling, and it's not all that common that we get thunderstorms in November, but this is what's been happening today in some parts of our province. As mentioned, some pretty big hailstones for areas like the Dundalk Highlands and around Shelburne. I've heard reports of some hail in and around Peterborough as well. Here's what that looks like on the satellite and radar. There's been a fair amount of lightning reported in Scarborough, East York, and into sections of Durham region. You're still dealing with active weather in Vaughan and Richmond Hill. And if this continues and doesn't weaken further, some parts of the downtown core are going to see some stormy weather as we progress through the next half hour to an hour here. Big picture look at the satellite and radar. So we've got one area of low pressure circulating. We've also got what's happening now, some lake enhancements. So lake effect rain showers, part of the weather story for this week. And in the week to come, maybe even some lake effect snowflakes. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. In our short range, lots of sunshine for your Tuesday, increase in cloud cover at night. And then Wednesday, we're back into some periods of rain. It's not a washout of a day. Wet weather beginning late morning or early afternoon. And then once again, we get into pockets of precipitation overnight and into Thursday before some clearing once again. Today, another big part of the weather story, the winds. We still have special weather statements in place, warning of gusts up to 80 kilometers per hour. This is mainly near the water around Niagara Falls, Georgian Bay, and over toward Prince Edward County. The winds are going to ease somewhat tonight. Still going to be a breezy day tomorrow. The winds strengthen again into the day on Wednesday with that next low. So it's just that time of year. It's wet, cool, windy. It's 9 degrees right now in Toronto, so it's not all that cool. We're seasonal for a daytime high, and we made it to 11 today. 5 is our forecast overnight low. Tomorrow, enjoy the sunshine. And how about that? A forecast daytime high of 13. So that's above seasonal. We have to take advantage of temperatures in the teens as we make our way through November, especially when you have some sunshine to go along with it. Let's talk about this 7-day forecast. So as mentioned, conditions are going to flip-flop back and forth. Sunshine for Tuesday, wet weather for Wednesday, back into a mix of sun and cloud for Thursday, a little cooler at 9 degrees. Showers Friday, cloud cover into the weekend, and then things start to cool down again for Saturday, a high of only 6. And look at those overnight lows Sunday and Monday, slightly below freezing with a chance of flurries. That's your look at the weather for now. Nathan, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Also tonight, distance from a doctor when a simple checkup means a road trip. A new study reveals what happens when your family doctor isn't around the corner.
A new study out of St. Michael's Hospital looks at the implications of having a doctor who is more than 30 kilometers away.
CTV's health reporter Pauline Chan has the details.
Dr. Archana Gupta's study grew out of her own experiences as a family physician when she noticed many patients had to travel long distances to see her.
For some of them, it was that they had been with the clinic for a long time, but for many of them, it was, I moved during COVID and I've not been able to find anyone locally. And so having someone far away is better than having no one at all.
In a study that's the first of its kind, she looked at just under 10 million Ontarians.
This included all Ontarians that are rostered to a family physician through one of the primary care enrollment models.
Meaning Ontarians without a family doctor, and even those living in rural settings beyond urban and suburban areas, were not included. Researchers found about 13% of patients live more than 30 kilometers from their primary care team.
What we found is that when patients live farther away from their family physician or their primary care team, they have more emergency department use, particularly for non-urgent reasons.
Continuity of care also suffers with less primary care visits when the doctor is further away.
And they have less preventative care screening for colon cancer, breast cancer, and cervical cancer screening.
She says ideally the system would work like schools, so if a family moves, they're immediately transferred to the new school in their area.
Ontario's Primary Care Act that was passed in 2025 is a great opportunity for us to think about how we can revolutionize primary care kind of in the next 4 years.
She says transferring families to closer primary health care and making sure more physicians are placed in underserved areas will ensure earlier diagnoses and better continuity of care. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
As the city tries to come to grips with the Blue Jays' loss in Game 7 of the World Series, some of the youngest fans are taking it pretty hard.
CTV's Andrea Case reports a school in Pickering wants to deliver a message of hope and belief in the team.
A group of kids in the principal's office usually spells bad news, but for this quintet at Gandasetiagon Public School in Pickering, this is an exercise in gratitude after a tough loss for the Blue Jays in Game 7 of the World Series. The kids are still repping the team.
Look at this jacket. Who made this jacket for you?
Mommy.
Was this your Halloween costume?
It was a bummer. It was not, but they can get it next year. I was very sad. I started crying, and I'm like, we stayed up for nothing, and they lost, but I still feel very sad for them. I was disappointed, but I still had faith in them.
Principal Justin Abdelkarim wanted to help his students get over the loss.
I framed it around, why don't we do a letter writing campaign? So that we can tell the Jays how we really feel about them. Because if they're feeling down, we're teaching the kids here that you don't just leave your friends, you don't just leave family or anything like that. You go and help them out.
Dear Jays, I know that you guys are feeling down.
The students put pen to paper and poured out their feelings for a team which went from last to almost first.
I feel like you guys basically did the impossible. You guys worked so hard to get this far, and the whole world is proud of you guys. Even though we lost, we won't give up on you. I just want to say, no matter what other people say, you guys will get it next year.
The letters have helped, but it may take a while for them to get over the loss.
Do you feel better writing the letter?
No, I'm still just sad for them, but I feel a little bit better.
Super proud. I'm very proud of them. They're awesome kids.
Keep going and don't give up. we got next year.
Looking around Principal Abdelkrim's office, it's easy to see he was a Blue Jays fan long before they got into Game 7, and even has pictures on the wall to prove it. Now perhaps he too will join the kids in the letter writing campaign. Andrea Case, CTV News.
After the break, taking a swing at baseball. How the Blue Jays World Series run could impact registration numbers as more Canadian kids decide to step up to the plate. A massive U.S. $48 billion deal will see big brands like Tylenol and Band-Aid change hands. B&M Bloomberg's Marilla Fernandez has more.
Kenvue is a company being bought by Kimberly-Clark. Shares of Kenvue have been dragged down for weeks by Donald Trump's false claim that using Tylenol during pregnancy causes autism. But those shares gained today. Kimberly-Clark will pay a premium for Kenvue. Kimberly-Clark owns brands like Kleenex and Huggies and expects to save $2 billion a year once the deal settles. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 71.15. West Texas Intermediate crude is up a few cents to 61.05. Western Canadian Select is also up 48 cents to 48.69. And the TSX hardly moved today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
The Business Report is brought to you by Canadian Western Bank, the bank built for business.
It wasn't the storybook ending millions of Canadians were hoping for, with the Blue Jays suffering that soul-crushing loss of the World Series.
But their incredible playoff run has inspired the next generation of young ball players. And come spring, it's expected a wave of new kids will be picking up a bat and glove. Here's CTV's Jean-Vinavali Rao.
While much of the country was caught up in Blue Jays fever for the last month, for those wanting to make it to the big leagues, the playoff run, regardless of outcome, was hugely inspiring.
It gives me extra motivation to come in here.
This Blue Jays team is really motivating. I'm here just getting work in, trying to get to another level.
Every kid at this training facility in Burlington, Ontario, has dreams of playing at least college-level baseball in the U.S., and many swinging for the majors, including 11-year-old Mateo, who last week told us he wants to play for the Blue Jays so much, he'd sign with them even if it meant a pay cut.
If I was getting more money somewhere else, I would still want to go to the Jays. I want to play in the Rogers Center.
And facilities like this now anticipating a surge in interest, with the Blue Jays World Series appearance getting more young people excited to play the game.
It grows it. It grows baseball. It makes it where it's real, it's an achievable dream.
Now, according to Baseball Canada, across the country last year, nearly 250,000 Canadians registered to play the sport. After the incredible World Series wins in '92 and '93, more kids started playing baseball. It was the same after the playoff runs in 2015 and 2016. And now another bump is expected in the spring.
It's exciting. I mean, it creates some capacity challenges for us to be able to handle, all the people that want to start to play baseball, but that's a good problem for us to have.
Baseball Canada notes the girls' side of the game has also seen significant growth in recent years, and that too could see a boost. And it's hoped, thanks to the interest generated by the Jays, there may be more Canadian stars on the field in the years to come. Jean-Vinavali Rao, CTV News, Burlington, Ontario.
Meanwhile, 2 former Blue Jays have been added to the ballot for possible induction into the Baseball Hall of Fame next year. Carlos Delgado played the first 12 seasons of his career with Toronto. The slugger hit .280 with 473 home runs and 1,512 RBIs during 17 seasons in the big leagues. Jeff Kent has also been added to the ballot. The infielder suited up for Toronto in 1992 before being traded during the season. They're joining current Toronto bench coach Don Mattingly and former Jays pitcher Roger Clemens, who'll get another chance to be elected to the Hall after failing to receive enough votes in previous years.
Just ahead, Halloween's over. Now it's full steam ahead on all things holiday. Look what's arrived at the Distillery District. The story behind this year's 55-foot Christmas tree. Well, we're only a couple of days into November, but already the Christmas season is in full swing in the Distillery District.
That includes the arrival of the massive Christmas tree. CTV's Jessica Smith has more.
'Tis the season for getting into the holiday spirit.
55 feet of silver fir that just screams Christmas.
The Distillery District Winter Village Christmas tree is here to help kick off the holiday season.
Obviously, it's in its unwrapping phase right now, but pretty soon 80,000 lights, hundreds of ornaments.
The roughly 5-story tree coming from right here in Ontario.
Yeah, this is a homegrown tree. This is right here in Ontario from Mono Township, about an hour north of Toronto. And so really, there's a whole tree farm. We use Drysdale Farms, and they come down every year.
In a new collaboration with Habitat for Humanity, GTA, the giant tree will get a second life when the holiday season is over.
At the end of the season, this tree will be taken down, taken to a local farm, and turned into wood and mulch. And you might be wondering what's going to be happening with that? Why does Habitat for Humanity need that? And it's because it's going to be turned into mulch that we will use as we're building affordable homes throughout the GTA.
The installation of the tree and decorations will be completed heading into next week. The Distillery District Christmas tree will officially be lit in a ceremony on November 13th at 6 p.m., which kicks off the Christmas market that runs all the way through to January 4th of 2026. Jessica Smith, CTV News.
And you can see there are wet roads today. Some have even described the forecast today as painful.
We had a little bit of everything today, so I wouldn't blame people for thinking that, especially if you got hit on the head with some of that hail out there. Here's a look at what we can expect tomorrow morning. A brighter day, warmer temperatures. It's going to be actually, I think, our nicest day of the week. Forecast high 13 degrees. We're back into a bit of active weather for Wednesday. Thursday, the sun comes back out, and then the weekend looks a little cloudy and a little cool. Maybe the chance of flurries before this 7-day is finished. Michelle and Nathan.
Flurries. Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Lindsay. That's it for us, but be sure to join Omar Sachedina tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Zarada Allman with your next local newscast at 11:30.
Meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here at CTV News and the guests we have in studio, thanks for watching and have a great night.